Hey guys, Ian here from Mid-America Prep. Thanks for tuning in and watching another video in the trailer remodel series. Today's video, I'm going to be doing a couple of very simple things, and that is getting this new decking in. Like I said in the second video I had, this trailer is not quite 8 foot long, and on each side of the trailer it is tongue and groove. Which I can show you that here in a second. That's what I mean by that. But to get this plywood to fit, I had to take an 8 foot sheet and cut it in half to meet up the center joist here. So the center of the trailer from the front is actually 48 1/4, and then the rest of it is like 45 3/4 long. And so I have the remaining piece of plywood that I have to basically, I had to cut it in half so I can slide it down in that groove, slap it down, and then the other one can come down and slide down next to it. And then in the center, I'm gonna just epoxy or join it somehow and make it waterproof on the inside. So I'll show you what I'm gonna do here. Because it is a 3/4 inch gap exactly, I have to trim down the 3/4 inch plywood to get that tongue to get in that groove. So I got my sawhorses over there. I'll open the door and get the saw going. This ought to be a fairly extremely easy cut to get done. So example here. This is the rear of the trailer. This is by the door. This plywood has to slip in there and then it'll slide down. But this has had so much water damage over the years that it's rusted. And so I'm going to clean this all up and paint it. I could completely refab it, but what's the point of that? It's going to get, dirty again. But I'm going to clean this all up with a wire brush and wire wheel. And then, coming over here to the plywood, I have a 3/4 inch line from the edge. And this right here is the cut edge that I had cut for the wood itself. This is going to be down just about, I'll probably cut that first little layer off, so probably 1/8 of an inch or less, 1/16 of an inch. And I'll just make sure this is all trimmed away. And that'll allow for a tongue to fit into the groove. And it's at a 3/4 inch bit, and it's down at about 1/8. Let's make sure that is set to the right height. Alright, should be good. We'll round her up. That gives us a nice straight line with a little shelf there, the little tongue. We'll go test fit it real fast, and if that works out right, we will, I'm going to round the other side off, clean it up a little bit, and then I'll cut the other sheet, which is actually a little long because it is an 8 foot sheet, so I'll have to cut about 3 inches off of it. So let's go ahead and test fit this real fast, see how well it works.
All right, so I got a little bit more to, just pass down, maybe another 1/8 inch or so. But over here is not so bad. It's just because all that rust is sitting in here. It's not too shabby, but it'll make it a flush floor and make it much easier to install the walls in the end. So I'll go ahead and wrap this down another 1/8 of an inch or so. Cut the other board, lay them both in here, and show you what it looks like afterwards. All right, guys. So there is the deck of the trailer. It is not set. I'm not going to actually set it in the trailer. I think because the walls are going to sit right on top of it over here on the edge, so I don't have to worry about it actually coming out once it's all put together. If you can see this piece of plywood did bow out just a little bit. You see that little bit of an edge right there. It was in a stack of plywood at Lowe's, and I'm sure it wasn't exactly dried like it should have been. I guess you could say it is treated plywood, but it was very, very moist when I got it. So much so that it was like dripping the chemical stuff that they soak it in. So I may just go ahead and put a couple of carriage bolts between the two pieces in the center there, and a couple of washers, and just sink them down to the frame, because this is the center of the frame right here. I know I didn't match them up. I should have, but it's not a big deal. I had the guys at Lowe's actually cut this for me, because they got them giant saws there, the big vertical saws, and I just had them cut it. It was 48 1/4 from the back, and would have been 47 3/4 left over. So I cut that off and in the front and routed it out, and I had them cut the width to 45 1/2, which is the inside dimension of the trailer down here, and that saved me a lot of time and hassle and unstraight cuts, and it's fit just fine, and I'm extremely excited for that. So I didn't have any issues. This down here, I did have to figure it out a little bit. It's a little bit wider over here than it is over here, as you can tell very easily. I'm just gonna have to fill that in with some silicone or something to make sure it's not leaking water in. I'm not worried about it because it's not going to be a 100% waterproof, never see moisture trailer, so I'm sure it's going to have some kind of leaking somewhere. But this is the end of this part right here. The next part, I'm going to actually spray the underbody here, clean up the frame, get all the old rust off of it, which is why I have a plastic tarp on the ground, so I can just knock it off right there and sweep it underneath the trailer and not have to worry about it on the concrete. Because later on, that rusty metal, walking out here barefoot, could be a nasty situation in the hospital or something. So thanks for tuning in. Keep calm and carry on. See you later.